everyone. I'm going to apologize right off the bat because I'm getting a little bit of a cold, so I'm going to try to do my best not to cough and sneeze and such during this live tonight. So thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for joining me again. If you were with us last week or the first week, this is my third live, so I really appreciate everybody's patience as I'm learning to make my way through these Facebook Lives, and that you keep coming back to visit and see what new and creative things we're coming up with each week. So for those of you who haven't been here, I'm Angie Gade, and our company is I Feel the Rush. We're in Brillion, Wisconsin. And the premise behind our business is basically to inspire others to get creative with things around the house, things that bring them joy. You don't have to spend a lot of money to make your house memorable, to use things around you that bring you joy and happiness. So our family really enjoys the outdoors. So for us, a lot of the things we have around our house come from the outdoors, whether it be moss, feathers, all sorts of things. You name it, we have it. I collect it every single time I go outside. One of the things I brought up last week was that every time I go for a walk, every time we go out hunting, just for a hike, I always come back with a backpack of goodies. So I have a lot. I have a lot of things, and it's getting to the point where I thought I need to start making some things with these, get creative, and share those ideas with others, because I'm sure there are other people out there like me that have a lot of these things around the house, or you would really like to. You always wondered what it would be like to make some creative things with items you find on your hikes and such. So as far as backpack goodies go, let's start there, because this last weekend my husband and I took our son up north just to spend some time together, just relaxing, just to get away from it all. I don't know about you guys, but when we go up north, as soon as I get out of town, I pretty much forget about all of my concerns, all my cares go away. We head up north, the only thing that I want to do is have a campfire, go for hikes, we do some hunting, just enjoy the outdoors. So last weekend, when we took our dogs out for a little bit of grouse hunting and went for a hike and did some scouting, did a little bit of deer hunting, we went on several walks, and in several circumstances I came back with arms full of things, and finally my son said, bring a backpack. So although I don't have the backpack with me, there are a lot of things here I'd like to show you. So I'm going to get started, and basically tonight what I want to show you how to do is, ultimately at the end of the talk, I'm going to show you how to put together a terrarium, which would be utilizing all of the things that I'm going to show you tonight that I have. I put together a smaller version of the terrarium like this. So this is super simple. You can do this using things you probably find in your backyard. So if you find a jar, you can use a mason jar. This particular jar, I think I got this at IKEA for $3 or something like that. But basically, if I hold it up real close, basically what we have in here is just a bottom layer of sand. We have some rocks, a little bit of dirt. Inside we have a little bit of moss. That is one of my backpack goodies from this last weekend. I'll show you how much I have. I have a lot. And then some plants. So the types of plants that you can use are really varied. It depends on whether your terrarium is going to be open at the top or going to be closed. And I'm actually going to show you this really awesome container that I got this weekend as well. And I also want to get your thoughts on what it is, because it's kind of a surprise. I'd like to get your thoughts and see who might know what it is. It's a vintage piece. So I'm going to show that to you in just a few minutes. So the first backpack goodie that I have is moss. For any of you that know me, you know that I love moss. So there's all kinds of different kinds of moss. This is one. You see, they kind of look like little Christmas trees. There's another type of moss here that I like to use. I don't know anything really about moss, so I can't tell you what kinds they are. But this is another kind. There's some little pieces of pine tree and stuff in there. I'm going to leave that in there because it's kind of gives it a natural look. but you certainly could pick all of that stuff out of there to clean it up a little. Depends on where you want to put it. So moss is one thing that I like to use. So for me, this becomes really kind of a memory decor piece as well. Everything I make kind of is, because the things that I use in those pieces are, they bring back good memories. So for me, like that moss would remind me of hunting and hiking and activities that I enjoy outside. Another thing that I have are rocks. You can use rocks. These particular rocks I got in Canada. So these rocks remind me of bear hunting. This is where Parker got his bear. So, and I was sitting with him, and it was pretty crazy. So this reminds me of Canada. I have some little pieces of wood that I picked up when we went to see our daughter in Kentucky. We go to the beach sometimes, and I like to pick up driftwood. So, although I would love to bring back some big pieces of driftwood, my husband tells me no. So, so I've got these little pieces. You can use these in your terrarium as well. As I mentioned, I've got sand, and this particular sand I'm going to show you here, we got this up north in a stream where people say there's gold. So my husband's going to see this and be like, there could be gold in there. And I'm going to put this in a terrarium. So I'm sure he's really going to be eyeballing it real closely. Can you see any gold in there? Looks kind of shimmery. So these are our little gold panning pans. That's another idea. You can do that up north. So here's the sand I'm going to use. I'm going to use another piece like this. This actually came off of a side of a tree. So, I mean, you could really go crazy and use mushrooms. You could use all sorts of little things that you find. But this actually, I don't even know what it's called. For those of you that know what this is called, you could share that in the comments below, because I don't know. But it's super cool. I just think it's got a cool texture. It's got a cool exterior. Kind of looks like a mushroom, but it grows on trees. So I'm going to use that. This is a piece of birch. What I actually would like to do is just take a little piece off of here and tuck this into my bucket. Now, depending on how big your terrarium is going to be, that's going to determine how big of the pieces that you can use. So keep that in mind when you're gathering your plants and your moss and all that kind of stuff. If you really have something big in mind, get a big container. I'll tell you, you can probably go to Hobby Lobby, TJ Maxx. We went to IKEA. Check out your local thrift shops, places like that, resale stores. Usually you can find big glass containers that they're literally giving away. It's great to support those stores, and you can get things for a really reasonable price. Another really exciting goodie that I got this weekend, and I got a lot of it, I was kind of crawling around on the ground a little bit, is I was looking at the moss, but it also looks like an evergreen tree, but it's some sort of climbing plant. So so I got that because partially also, I have a confession, I was also clipping boughs for wreaths. So I was bringing back a lot of stuff. It was more than my arms could carry. We actually had to take the four-wheeler back there. So my mom and I are going to be making wreaths this year. Instead of buying them, we're going to make them. So I'll be sure to share that. I'm sure she's going to love to join me on live. So I'm going to have both of us on there when we do make those wreaths, so you guys can see how it goes. We are not experienced. I would never pretend to be a professional when it comes to any of this stuff. It's just sharing creative ideas, and hopefully other creative people out there might get inspired and comment and let me know how your projects are going. Or if you have a project you would like to see, comment below, send me a message. I'm open to anything. I mean, if you have an idea for a project you'd like to see have done, you haven't tried it yourself, definitely drop me a message or comment below, and we'll see what we can do. So that was one of the goodies. This was probably one of my most exciting finds. Hunter actually had to tear me away from bringing too much back. So that'll go in there. Another thing I'm going to be adding to mine, because my bucket, my glass is going to be a little bit bigger, I'm going to put my first antler shed that I found in there. Because my piece is actually going to be a centerpiece for the table. So It's fall-ish. It kind of brings some of the summer activities into my dining room, just kind of so I can see that every day during the winter when it's really cold and we're not walking around the woods, although we still will be. Some other things we can put in there are these little succulent plants. These are going to do really well in mine because I'm actually going to have a glass top. So the moisture from the inside will keep circulating. It will be at the bottom, then it will evaporate, and it will kind of stay inside the container. So that'll be good for this type of plant. Some plants might not do so well in an enclosed container, so do a little investigation or go with an inexpensive plant so you don't waste a lot of money if you kill the plant that's inside there. Or take the top off sometimes. And then, of course, oh, here's another little plant. Here's a little plant. I'll put that guy in there. And then, of course, our dirt. We'll put some dirt in the bottom. Okay, so now that I've showed you kind of what my backpack goodies were, I didn't get all of these today, but these were all items that I put in my backpack. I could fit a lot more in my backpack too, so, but that's for another day. So we've got rocks on the bottom, sand, dirt, your plants, some moss, and then whatever items you're going to put on the top. I'm going to show you the container now, and I'm going to see if anybody's online right now and see if anybody might tell me what it is. So I'll start with the top. Now I found this at my neighbor's up north. He was just getting rid of it. Didn't want it, didn't have any use for it. It just so happens that that morning I was thinking to myself, I need a container for a terrarium because I am bringing home moss. It was like fate. Somebody was shining down on me, smiling, saying, this is the container for you. So, I'm going to show you this top, and I don't know if you can see very well, but there's a hole in the top, almost like as if you would stick a pole through here. And you can't see it very well, but in the bottom, there's actually a little hole down here with almost like a bulb. So it's not an area that you can clean out. So although it looks like there's room for airflow or liquid, I'm not sure, but I'm going to show you the bottom now. Hope I don't knock everything over. This is a really heavy piece. And now mind you, it is a vintage piece, so there is a little bit of chip out of the side, and it probably weighs 10 pounds, maybe more. It looks ginormous. Actually, it looks really ginormous in this picture. It is a big bowl, but it's just a glass, heavy, really thick bowl. But what I will tell you is, it doesn't say it on here, but it does say Pyrex on the top. Yes, it says Pyrex. Made in the USA. So I have looked it up online. I do know that it's vintage. I do know that maybe it's worth a couple dollars, but I don't care. I'm going to use it for my terrarium. So it probably will be a pretty valuable piece considering I'm putting my gold shavings in there. So we're going to start, and I'm going to try to show you as we go. I don't know how this is going to work with the just the table and setting and such. I might have to put it together and then show it to you after. So we're going to start with our base. So again, we're going to use these shavings. Oh, I think I see a little gold piece in there now. I didn't win the billions in the mega bucks, but I got some gold shavings. So I'm going to put those in the bottom. And then I'm going to put some dirt. And I'll show you just as I do a few of these little steps. I'll kind of show you as I go, since I'm not really set up very well yet. Like I said, this is kind of my third Facebook Live, so I'm not exactly set up in the house to have Facebook Live. So I'm out on the porch doing my best here. So we've got our sand in there. We've got some dirt. Now I'm going to add some moss. Now, if it were you, do you prefer the tree moss, like I like, the tree moss. Or do you prefer more of the real green moss like this? I like both, so I'm using both. If I scream, it's because a bug jumped out of these. There's going to be a top on this, so I'm not worried about bringing it in the house. But it might be something you might want to consider if you're bringing moss or plants in from the outside. We are here in the Midwest, we're getting ready for winter, so the animals are looking for warm places. So are the bugs. So maybe just keep your eyes peeled. You can use vinegar water to spray plants, but again, look that up online. I don't want you to kill any of your plants. So just keep that in mind. Or leave it out on the porch and let it air out and see how things go before you bring it in the house. So I'm going to be using the moss. I'm going to be using these little plants. And this is such an awesome project because there isn't any way to get it wrong. You really just put it together however you think it looks good. There is no right or wrong answer. And get this. Okay, so far I have my dirt, my sand, I have a plant, I have added my antler, and now I'm going to add a few sticks and a few rocks. Remember, rocks from Canada. I don't speak with a Canadian accent, but I do love the Canadian accent. So going through the border is always really fun. So we're going to put a few rocks and a few of these sticks from Kentucky. Not quite as far as Canada. And again, you can put these in there and reorganize, put the top on, see what it looks like. See if you want to make some changes. Another thing you can use that I didn't mention, and actually I'm probably not going to use that big thing, is you could put candles in there. Depending on how big your container is and which plant to use it for, you could put a candle in there. Just make sure that any live plants or sticks are not close to the flame, obviously. Keep a close eye on it, or you could just put it in there for decoration. I got this at IKEA for $2. So we've got that. I'm going to put a little bit of this greener in here. I love this stuff. This is going to go on everything. Everything in my house is going to have this on it now, especially with Christmas coming. That's awesome. And the best part about it, it's free. You don't have to spend a lot of money at the store for this. This cost me nothing. And it's awesome memories. So I'm going to tuck this in behind my sticks. And again, I'll probably, move some of these things around tonight after I get off of this Facebook Live. This is kind of like pipe cleaner material. Look at this. It kind of bends whatever way I want it to bend. That's pretty cool. I can't believe I've never discovered that before. Okay. So I've got my rocks, I've got my antler, I have my plants. And I have my top. So again, get creative. Use your imagination. Put it together. There you go, you can kind of see it. Now I'm going to have a top on here. And it just kind of gives your centerpiece at your table just a little touch of the outdoors. A little fresh greenery, something to spice it up. Especially greens with fall. You could fill it with leaves. Just use your imagination. Go in your backyard. Find some things laying around. And yeah. So we can go small, you could go big. Another idea I wanted to show you, I did put this in my backpack as well, is, you're going to think I'm crazy. My husband thinks I'm crazy too. So I found this huge light bulb, and I'm actually going to take that center piece out of there so that I can take the center of this light bulb out. Now this is also a vintage piece. I'm going to put a terrarium in here. I'm going to put some dirt in here, some moss, a few sticks, maybe an antler. I could probably fit a little tiny antler in there. And then hang it. So you could have a hanging terrarium. So really any containers that you want to make terrariums out of. We have all sorts of antique containers. I was just looking at some other glass pieces I have. We actually find these, now these are dirty mind you, but we find these out in the woods, you know, laying in different places, buried. We have huge jars, small jars. Clean them up, make them into little terrariums, hang them from the ceiling, from your plant hooks, put them on a little dresser. You can put it on your desk. Little terrariums are a great idea for the office because they don't take up much space and you don't have to water them a lot. So moss is awesome because I've had moss in containers with my plants. So when you water them, it keeps the moisture down in your down in the bottom of your plant, so you can use it that way too. Not a terrarium, but using it in your plants at home. So those are some of the ideas that I had. Those are some of my backpack goodies. I think that I'm going to have more backpack goodie lives because I can't tell you how much stuff I have around the house that I found outside that we use in the house and just like to use our imagination. So hopefully this inspired you a little bit to get creative with some of the things around your house, some things from the woods. Like I said, that's where we just love to spend most of our time. We love to share this with other people. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did like this and you know someone who might like to make terrariums or might like moss like I do, share it with your friends. Tag people below in the comments. You know, let me know, like I said, if there's something else you know you'd like to see made, and I'd be happy to do another Facebook Live with that idea. If you'd like to visit our website, it's ifeelarush.com. We're posting blogs, post about things that we do, different activities, recipes. Today I posted a recipe about making homemade salsa. We're coming to the end of the season now with the frost. You might have some tomatoes laying around the house that you'd like to utilize. Don't let them go to waste. Check out the website, ifeelarush.com, and check out that recipe there. We're posting different things all the time, so please stop by there and visit again. If you'd like to visit with us again next week, I'll be back on Thursday night, 8 p.m. We're trying to make that a weekly time, and I hope to see you then. Thank you again so much. Have a good night.